Okay, we're sitting with Tom Maynard, one of the most innovative voices in hot air ballooning. Great friend of mine who's been uh, establishing his hot air balloon podcast since he's retired from the field. And we're going to let Tom explain some of the things about his podcast and some of the things he's experienced along his hot air ballooning journey. So thank you, Tom. Glad to see you today.
It's my pleasure to be here, believe me. And, the podcast is a way for me to kind of stay in the business, to still be here.
Right.
Without doing events. And it's hard sometimes for us all to remember. Tom's 75 years old. And as I'm traveling doing events, and keep in mind, I have done events, we've laughed. The smallest one was about 20 balloons, and my sound system was mounted on top of a garbage truck to a system that really stretched for a mile. And we had 250,000 spectators.
Wow.
Okay, so big events. So we've done it all. And but as you age, you're up an hour to 2 hours before sunrise in the morning. And you're back at and we got that flight. That's going to last about 2.5 hours. You're going to go have some breakfast. You're lucky you're going to catch a nap. And you're going to be back to the field probably about 4 in the afternoon. And you're going to get ready to do an evening show with balloon launches. And then you're going to have a chance to get a bite to eat. And then you're going to do what we call a glow at dark. And we're going to illuminate the balloons on the field like giant lanterns.
Okay.
Spectacular to see. And that's a late night. And I may not get back to the hotel until 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Wow.
And I've got to be up tomorrow morning to go back out for the morning lunch. So as I've aged, that's gotten a little harder to do. And you begin to realize that maybe it's time to sit down and say, you know what, I've had a lot of fun. And it's been a great run. I started doing this. Let's put it this way. My son Douglas is 45 years old. And his mom was pregnant for him when we had our first balloon event in Rochester, Michigan. And they went on from there to Pinckney and my experiences there. And I'd had my first balloon ride. I was sold. I have to get into this sport. And so you were following all of those things. So it's been a long time, and I've had a lot of fun.
Okay.
And I've had my kids have traveled all over. And think about this. I've gone as far west as Ridgecrest, California. Now that's right next to China Lake. If you're familiar with the U.S. Navy, has a 6 million acre plot of land in California called China Lake. And they test equipment and munitions and other things. And right next to China Lake is Ridgecrest. And a lot of those are retired military folks. They refer to themselves as desert rats because of all the sand. And you're at Death Valley. It's something to see. But we've also done Florida, and we've done Wisconsin, and we've done Ohio, and we've done Michigan. We've traveled all over. And it's been fun. But it's time to sit down. Well, a podcast lets me do that. Okay, I can still bring people into ballooning, explain what's going on, so that when they show up at their first balloon event or their 50th balloon event, they've got a little extra education, and they can be excited for what they're going to see today.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh, they're going to have a great time. I promise that.
Will we just be doing ballooning on your podcast? Or?
Well, we're gonna focus our efforts there. And I think it's important for people to understand. We went searching first off for a name. What do you call a podcast?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, like this. And I always laughed, and I always said I was going to write a book called Over the Fence, because when you go to a balloon event, about 9 out of 10 of them have this fence line. Spectators are on one side, balloonists are on the other. and I wanted to take people over the fence. That's just kind of a big name. And then I was talking with my son, and he said, well, Dad, the perfect name is just Hot Air. And then we got laughing, because I said, yeah, because that's what people expect from me, a lot of hot air.
Okay. All right.
And so I went to my wife, because, you know, a smart man listens to his partner.
Okay.
And she said, you know, you're right about the names. It just simply should be up in the air. That's where you want to take people. Up in the air. You want them to understand. And she's right.
I see. Yeah.
So we're going to name this podcast Up in the Air. We're going to let our friends on Facebook know about it. We're going to log this on YouTube.
Okay.
And so when I see something pop up, I'm going to do that. But we do have a couple of set rules. And the number one rule is there's nothing political here.
Oh.
Okay? I'm not doing political. I'm not doing it because I'm not that smart. You know, you've got to be brilliant. Anybody in the entertainment world who thinks they're so brilliant that they can tell other people how to vote, they're just fooling themselves. And that's one of the reasons our voting booths are private.
Yeah.
You should be private in your vote. So I'm not going to do political.
Okay.
I will, unless something just really ugly steps up, in which case I may blip on it, and that's it. The other things, though, we can include is things like, how about vet care and animal care? Well, my daughter Shannon is a vet tech.
Okay.
And Shannon has been a vet tech for about 30 years. People always have questions. And so what we'll do ahead of time is encourage people to submit their questions. And then one day I'll invite Shannon to come and sit with me.
Okay.
And we'll go through those questions and answer them, and she can give you a little extra insight. We're also not going to make these real long. 10, 15 minutes, about that, that's about the max.
Okay.
Because most of us are so busy.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of time to sit and watch. So why don't we do that? We'll make them short and sweet.
Okay.
So that when I talk to you about the very, very first hot air balloon, and I always teasingly say I crewed for that balloon. Yeah, that was in November of 1783. So our audience will get an idea how old I really am. We'll keep it short and sweet.
Okay.
And as we work forward into the modern era, and how did the modern hot air balloon that we see today, how did that come to be? And there was actually the United States Navy involved.
Really?
Yeah, and we'll even share a story of we were out in Las Vegas, and we met a gentleman by the name of Dr. John Satoris, who was a physicist who was involved in helping to develop the modern hot air balloon, and our experiences with him. But we'll also talk about balloon manufacturers and even home building. You can build a balloon at home. Not that it's easy, but you can do it. And I have several friends who do. In fact, Wayne Warren from Waterford, Michigan, he's a home builder, and he has built some gorgeous balloons. And so we're going to invite Wayne in one day, and we're going to talk about doing a home build.
Okay.
All right. So I'm encouraging people to come, see what we're doing, hear us, and remember that we're now worldwide. Okay, and you know, I've always been able to tell you about the events that I'm involved with, and I could even tell you about some of the local events that I knew of, but I was kind of limited. Well, thanks to the internet, I'm no longer limited. So
Yeah.
I will have information available on balloon events all across America, and we'll try to bring that to people. And again, utilizing questions and answers and photographs. I'm sure there are some wonderful balloon photos out there
Oh, yeah.
that people have taken. They're excited about those. So I'd like to see, I'm gonna reach out. You see, I happen to have the greatest engineer in the world working with me on this project from Dream Factory. And Leonard Washington and I have been friends. I can actually I can pinpoint the time. It was November of 1989 when we first met. And over those years, I have watched you as a person grow, change, and just blossom. And in the work in the recording industry, and in engineering of audio and video, and including movies, podcasts, music videos, you name it, you've been involved in all of this. So I've been blessed to be able to turn to you and say, Leonard, how do I do this? And we're able to sit and relax and enjoy this time together.
I love you too, Tom.
I love you, my friend.
And I look forward to the podcast, and we'll be coming out as soon as we possibly
I'd like
can.
to get one out in the next week or 10 days.
That sounds great. That's great. Nice talking to you,
Good to
Tom.
see
I
you.
love you. Tell Cindy all my love.
And I want to remind these people, please,
Sure.
be kind to each other, but always remember, you got to be kind to yourself.
That's
We'll see you on the other side.
Sounds like a winner.
Thank you, sir.